Hello and welcome back to the English Hour, where we explore English in a way that is practical, engaging, and deeply connected to real life. Today, I want to address something that almost every English learner struggles with at some point, even if they study for years. It's that question that lingers in your mind late at night. Why am I not fluent yet? Let me start with a story. A few years ago, I met a learner named David. David had been learning English for several years. He read books, watched movies without subtitles, and could even write essays that looked impressive. On paper, he seemed advanced. But when it came to speaking, something strange happened. He froze. He hesitated. Simple sentences became complicated in his mind. One day, he admitted to me, "I feel like I know English, but I can't really use it. I'm not fluent, and I don't know why." That moment was eye-opening for both of us, and it highlights a truth that so many learners miss. Fluency isn't just about knowledge, it's about practice, mindset, and the way you use English every day. The first reason most people aren't fluent yet is that they study English in isolation. They memorize vocabulary, they drill grammar rules, they read and write, but they don't speak. Language isn't a subject to pass in a classroom, it's a skill to use. Think about learning to ride a bike. You can read books about balance and pedaling, but until you actually get on the bike and practice, you won't ride. English is exactly the same. Fluency comes from using the language, from making mistakes and correcting them in real time, from connecting with real people, and from letting your mouth and brain learn to work together. Another reason people struggle is fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of sounding silly, fear of judgment. I remember a student, Sarah, who would rehearse every sentence in her head multiple times before speaking. Even then, she would pause, worry, and sometimes stop mid-sentence. She was so afraid of being wrong that she stopped herself from speaking altogether. Fluency requires courage. It requires embracing mistakes as part of the learning process. Every error is a lesson, a stepping stone towards smoother, faster communication. The more you fear mistakes, the more you block yourself from growth. A third reason is overthinking. Many learners translate every thought from their native language into English before speaking. This creates hesitation, confusion, and awkward pauses. When you overthink, your brain becomes a barrier between what you want to say and what actually comes out. Fluency isn't about thinking in your native language and translating. It's about training your brain to think in English. That's why exercises like speaking aloud, narrating your day, or having short conversations in English are so powerful. They teach your mind to process English directly instead of filtering it through translation. Consistency is another key factor. Many learners are inconsistent. They study hard for a few days or weeks and then stop, thinking they've made progress. But language learning is like watering a plant. If you water it once and leave it for a month, it won't grow. English fluency grows with regular, daily practice. Even short, focused sessions are far more effective than occasional marathon study sessions. Small, daily actions compound into huge results over time. Mindset also plays a huge role. Some learners believe that only naturally talented people can become fluent, or that fluency is a distant, impossible goal. This mindset creates self-doubt and hesitation. Fluency is not about talent, it's about action, repetition, and persistence. Every fluent speaker started somewhere. They stumbled, they practiced, they made mistakes, and they kept going. Believing in yourself and your ability to improve is essential. Let me give you an example of a student named Alex. Alex had been learning English for 5 years. He thought he knew enough, but he rarely spoke. When I encouraged him to join a small English conversation group, he hesitated. He worried about mistakes, about what others might think. But he took the leap. The first session was rough, full of pauses and mispronunciations. The second session was better. The third session, he was speaking with more confidence. Within a few months, Alex's fluency improved dramatically, not because he studied more grammar, but because he used English actively and consistently. That's the secret many learners overlook. Knowledge alone doesn't make you fluent. Using it does. So, if you're asking yourself why you're not fluent yet, here's the truth. It's not because you're not smart enough. It's not because English is impossible. It's because fluency requires action, courage, and consistency. You need to speak, even if imperfectly. You need to embrace mistakes, not fear them. You need to think in English instead of translating everything in your head. You need daily practice that challenges you to actually use the language, not just study it. Here's what I want you to do. Start small, but start now. Speak aloud for 5 minutes a day. Describe your day, your plans, or your thoughts in English. Find someone to practice with, even for a few minutes. Record yourself and listen back. Notice your mistakes and correct them gradually. Most importantly, stop waiting until you feel ready. Fluency doesn't come from preparation, it comes from action. Remember, the journey to fluency is a process. It's a combination of consistent practice, courage, mindset, and real-world usage. Every fluent speaker has faced the same obstacles you are facing right now. They overcame fear, they spoke imperfectly, they practiced regularly, and they never gave up. And so can you. Thank you for spending this time with me on the English Hour. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who needs encouragement. Remember that fluency is within your reach. Speak daily, embrace mistakes, think in English, and use the language as it was meant to be used. You're closer than you think, and your journey to fluency starts with one word, one sentence, and one conversation at a time. Keep going, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself.